overall, this study will have three important components. What I mean is the structure of the course. It will have part one, and part one deals with an business policy and overview. That is part one, and part two. Part two will deal with what is called strategy for implementation, no, strategy formation, or here, let me write it differently, please. Remove this. No, we must start again. We must start again. Strategy formulation, part one. Part one is about strategy formulation. Formulation, part two, strategy implementation. That is strategy implementation is. And part three, strategy evaluation. I think it is evaluation. So, these are broadly the main classification. Classifications of the content of the course, the content and structure of the course, and the structure of the course. So, this is an overview of the whole of the course, and this overview deals with what we are purposing or what we are aiming to do when we are intending to go through the different aspects of the course. As part one, we'll be dealing with strategy formulation, and part two deal with strategy implementation. Naturally, from formulation for strategy implementation, then both the implementation and the formulation should be evaluated to see whether we are following the right policy formulations and the right implementation of the strategy. That is the general structure of the course for which we have intended, that we will be focusing on this semester. So the first issue is what we'll be looking at is an overview, or business policy and overview will be the first title. Policy and overview. And that is what we'll be intending. And we'll have this part that gives us a general overview of what we'll be dealing. Generally, we'll be focusing on 5 important issues. That means business policy and an overview. It will have 5 things to do, to analyze, 5 items and themes to analyze, to focus on. And the first part of our daily is about business policy, the conceptual analysis. Conceptual analysis, which simply means the science of business policy and strategy. The science of business policy, policy formulation, analysis, implementation, and so forth. That's in conceptual analysis, and this is about business policy. And following this, we'll be dealing with, it has got its own content, it has got its own structure, historical development, historical analysis, but generally we'll be dealing with conceptual analysis of business policy, which is more about the science of business policy. Another issue to deal with nature, scope, and implementation of nature, scope, and implementation of business policy. That means these three are important issues we'll be dealing. First, the nature of business policy, its scope, that means the area it will be focusing on, implementation, that is the practical aspect of it. The third item that we'll be looking at this chapter, that means business policy and over review, will be objectives of business policy, that means what we are purposing at. Objectives of business policy. And here is what this item, what it is all about. What its purposes are. That is another point to deal with, objectives of business policy. And the fourth element to deal with is benefits of business policy, that means the advantage of using or implementing business policy. Benefits of business policy. Here is the advantage of using this kind of policy frameworks. The advantage of using business policy. That means a business, here we would like to demonstrate the idea that a business without business policy, business strategy, what would be that kind of business? This is the point that we'll be focusing on, namely benefits of business analysis, business policy, and the fifth issue that we'll focus at is what is called promises and relevant issues of business policies. Relevant issues that the business policy deals. Relevant issue the business policy deals. And that are a number of them, policy strategy, levels of strategy, planning, paradigms, and so forth. These are 5 issues and themes that we'll be first covering, and I will be directly moving to that. First, the conceptual analysis, what it means. Let me give you an overview of it. The first is conceptual analysis, that means the science of business policy analysis. Or this is the first, the nature, the scope, and the implementations of business policy. The third is objectives of the business policy. What it is purposing as benefits, that is more about the advantage of business policy, whether a business can become successful without it. The fifth is the relevant issues the business policy deals with, issues with which that organization deals now and then. These are issues that will be dealing here. So it will have this main concept and will be rightly, just now focusing on issue, raise the first point that we have mentioned and proceed forward. So, the first, business policy, conceptual analysis. Business policy, a conceptual analysis. That is what we'll be focusing at. What does it mean? By conceptual analysis, here we understand conceptual analysis of an object, anything. Conceptual analysis of anything is about the science of that, the science, or the main essence of the main essence of what its purposing at is the science or the main essence of what it is purposing at. That means the construct of the object of the study. The study. That is what we mean by conceptual object of the study. by conceptual analysis. I think this is no more showing. Okay. That means anything has its own conceptual analysis. I mean, so we generally by conceptual analysis we understand objects of the study and business policy as conceptual analysis. Analysis points at policy formulation. Policy formulations of the variety of business issues. Business institutions. What is meant is you have different kinds of businesses. You have got variety of financial markets. You have got this is also one business. You have got telecommunication business. You have got higher education business. You have got variety of businesses. Now, regardless of this, why is that conceptual analysis of business would focus on the abstract idea of business, that is the science of it. So business policy, an organization is to be without a specific kind of business policy, then it will have some kind of trouble and problem. That's why we say business as a conceptual analysis points at the policy formulation of variety of business institutions. Since you have specific to that kind of business, you have got specific business policy formulation, and in general sense, in the most abstract senses, you have got what is called business policy formulation. So business policy formulation, regardless of this, there are points that it looks at, focuses at, and this is what we call business policy. So the fundamental goal of formulating So the fundamental idea is three issues need to be comprehended: business policy. Policy needs to be looked at from three important points. First, are the discipline. We'll look at the discipline, then we'll be looking at an integrative approach as an integrative approach. That is one area that we'll be focusing at, and also phases of business policy. This is about process and time. Phase of business policy. This is about process and time. Process, time, and issues. Process, time, and issues. That's why we call it phase of business policy. Another related concept is that we'll be doing is business policy as an integrative approach. That also we'll be focusing on integrated approach of business policy. Nature, scope, and importance of business policy will come to that. So first, business policy needs to be looked at a discipline by itself. That means a science developed by its own and its own academic, a science and an academic enterprise. A science and an academic enterprise. The science and an academic enterprise, that's what we mean as a discipline. As an integrated approach, then we has got